Hi, my name is Sarah Vogelsang, and today I have chosen grade 7, and we're going to do our project. Our learning centers are going to be based on figurative language. This year I'm actually going to be teaching 7th and 8th grade writing, and so I thought figurative language would be awesome. It's definitely something I'm going to have to teach this year, so I thought it would be appropriate to write a lesson that had learning centers including figurative language. The TEKs that we're going to cover are 15, it's 7.15, writing literacy text. Students write literary text to express their ideas and feelings about real or imagined people, events, and ideas. Students are expected to write a poem using figurative language, personification, idioms, hyperbole, automatopoeia. So in station 1, as we head over here to our first station, this is our poetry poker station. As you will see, I have a stack of cards here. And basically, the idea of poetry poker, you have one student who's going to deal 5 cards to each student that's in the project here, in their little group. And basically what the student has to do is turn over the cards. And as you can see, each card has a different word. So on this one, it has concludes. The next one has strange. The next, wafts, cemetery, and infer. This station will have a group of 3 to 4 students. They will use a stack of cards that I have prepared, as I have already shown you. The students are required to write a poem or a story using at least 3 different kinds of figurative language and the vocabulary words that they were just dealt in their hand. This activity can be used from the first lesson all the way to the last for this unit. After the first lesson, students will only be required to use what they have learned that day, because naturally we'll probably only go over one of the pieces of figurative language. So although we've said they'll be required to use 3, on that first day it's only going to be 1. So on and so forth. You can adapt this to your GT learners by having a separate deck of cards with higher level vocabulary words. You can also adapt this for your special education learners by having a separate deck of cards with lower level vocabulary words. Students will place the poem or story in their figurative language folder. Our second station is going to be our graphic design station. As you can see here, we have several different things students can use. We've got scissors and colors and glue. In my actual classroom, we would probably have some poster board, anything that the students would want to bring with them. At this station, students will be required to create some kind of graphic that explains what automatopoeias and personifications are and give examples. This can be a foldable, a trifold brochure, a poster, a 3D pop-up, or anything else a student would like to design as long as they have gotten the okay from me. I really like to be flexible when it comes to my students. I like to give them the opportunity to really use any kind of creative art that they personally enjoy. So for me, I would even allow them to write a song or a rap. And if they weren't comfortable sharing that in front of the class, I would allow them to come to share that, maybe in between classes or before or after school with me. This gives the students a really good opportunity to get creative, especially with personification. This also allows for different strengths of different students. It allows for students with different strengths to choose the graphic they feel most comfortable creating. Many of these options may not fit into their folder, so students will just need to make sure that they have their name on it and keep it in a safe place until it's time to turn it in. This is an example of our figurative language folder. This is just a basic folder here, but what I will have the students do is put their name on the folder and also decorate that with things that they enjoy. So if they're a basketball fan, they might put a basketball player or basketballs on there. Our next activity is an automatopoeia listening activity. What students are going to do, they're going to come over here to this listening station. Students will listen to various sounds that I have provided on a CD. They will then be required to come up with their own automatopoeia for each sound they hear. They will keep the word they come up with to themselves, and then at the end of the listening session will share their words with their group. The students will compare how they each interpreted the sounds differently. So I might have a trickling stream. And so one student might hear a whooshing sound or a gurgling sound, and each student is going to have something different. For your GT students, you could take this activity a little bit deeper by writing a one-paragraph explanation about why each student's listening experience might have produced different results. Students will place this paper, again, into their figurative language folder. Our next activity is a little fun and a little loud. Basically, the students might use colored paper, or they can also bring their own notebook paper. But each student in the group will start with their first name and come up with a one-sentence example of alliteration. So, for example, if we used my name, Sarah, a student might write a sentence that says, Sarah sells snow cones, seriously, Sunday. Something like that would be a good alliteration. So once they have written their sentence, they will recite it to their group. Each member in the group will share, and then they will all try to recite each other's sentences. I encourage the students to try to speed up as they go, or try to say it 5 times fast, kind of like Susie sells seashells by the seashore. I can't even say it once, but it becomes a really fun interactive activity that the students didn't even realize they were learning alliteration through this activity. This may be a challenge for your ELL students. However, I believe it can help strengthen their vocabulary skills. It also gives them a chance to vocalize the new words they are learning. Students learn best by doing. In this station, students will write the alliteration, hear the alliteration, and speak the alliteration. It gives them so many opportunities to understand this concept. Each student will write down their alliteration as well as the alliterations from their group, and then place this page in their alliteration folder. Not only are they getting the one that they came up with, but at that point they're also going to have 3 or 4 other alliterations that they can look back to for understanding. Our next station is Station 5. This is our simile station. Students will be given a stack of magazines here. They will be required to find at least 5 pictures and write their own simile describing each picture. For example, if they had a picture of a sweaty guy playing basketball, they might write, "That guy is as sweaty as a cold glass of iced tea on a hot summer day." They will cut out the picture, glue it to a piece of colored paper, and write their simile underneath it. These 5 pages will go into their figurative language folder, and as you can see here, we've provided all the supplies that they will need. So basically what they're going to do is they're going to go through all these magazines and pick out some fun pictures that they like and create a graphic for similes. Our last station is our metaphor station. As you can see, we have a set of headphones here. In this activity, students will be given a copy of an essay written by another 7th grade student from a past STAR test. This is an audio station, so the student will put on the set of headphones and listen to the essay being read to them while they follow along. This essay has been specifically chosen because of its beautiful use of metaphors. Once the student has finished listening to the essay, they will be required to go through their copy of the essay and highlight all of the metaphors used. After they have identified the metaphors in the paper, they will be required to write 3 sentences of their own that show their understanding by using a metaphor in each sentence. This page again will go into their figurative language folder. As you can see, all of these various stations that we've shown you with the magazines and the graphics and the poker poetry, the different listening stations, all of these stations here tap into so many different levels of understanding for our students. Many of these can be used for our special education students. There are so many other opportunities, like with Poetry Poker, for our GT students to be able to tap into a deeper level of knowledge. And then we also have your basic learning for your on-level readers and writers. These are going to be great in my classroom, and I know that I'm going to use each and every one of them this year as I start my journey as a 7th and 8th grade writing teacher.